Hey, brain friends. So, the month of May carries like a lot of meaning for me. It's Stroke Awareness Month. It's Dr. Celeste's birthday month, plus all her homies. So, shout out to y'all. Y'all know what it is. And this week marked another stroke anniversary of my own. 9 years I had my stroke. And so when I talk about prevention, I'm not talking about it from a distance. I care about prevention because I know what it feels like to sit in the aftermath of a stroke, trying to make sense of something that changed in an instant, and also while you're sitting there trying to figure out, when am I going back to work? What are the kids going to eat for dinner? Where, do I have the time off? Like, these are the real problems that you're kind of sitting in there with. And again, you're also thinking, what's going on at the job? Did Bob from accounting steal my chair? You know what I mean? We got real problems. So I know what it feels like when those conversations suddenly become about blood pressure, medications, and risk factors and lifestyle changes. You can't eat this, but you got to eat that, and all those things. And while your mind is still processing exactly what has just happened to me, like, that ain't supposed to happen to me. That happened to other people. So for many survivors and care partners, prevention can feel like really overwhelming. And sometimes it even sounds like blame. Like somebody is saying you should have known better. Or you should have known this already. But I'm here to tell you it's not even the case. Prevention is not about shame. It is about understanding. It is about learning what numbers mean and why certain habits matter, and what steps can help reduce the risk of another crisis before it happens. This is why I care so much. This is why it matters, and prevention matters so much. Because when we understand the why behind prevention, the meaning behind the numbers, and the steps in front of them, the steps in front of us, we can make better decisions. So today, my conversation with Dr. Rachel Forman helps us with prevention, blood pressure. We're talking community education and information that people can actually use. And in the spirit of Dr. Dave Trina Celeste Gatson, we are keeping equity, access, and real life understanding at the center so we can continue to make this complicated stuff make sense. So with all of that, I'm gotta say, let's get it.
Welcome to Brain Friends, where two neuro nerds talk all things aphasia, language recovery, culture, and community. I am Dr. Trina Celeste Gatson, a clinical speech-language pathologist and neuroscientist.
And I am Angie Cawthorn, stroke survivor and aphasia advocate.
Welcome to our show.
Welcome to Brain Friends.
We want to thank all of our listeners for downloading the podcast. We appreciate everyone listening, so please tell a friend to tell a friend that we are here.
And we are. Dr. Rachel Forman, tell me about yourself. Tell me all the things you do. Welcome to Brain Friends, all the things, yada, yada, yada. Tell me about yourself. Tell me all the things.
Thank you, Angie, for having me, first and foremost. I think it's incredible what you've done. I'm such a big fan of you. I tell all my patients in their after-visit summaries to check out your podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you. I'm a stroke neurologist at Yale, and I treat all types of strokes. My biggest passion is supporting stroke survivors through their journey, whatever that may look like. and preventing stroke. So I do a lot of community work. I work with youth, try to teach them about how not to only recognize stroke symptoms, but also to learn healthier habits. And yeah, it's been really rewarding to do this type of work.
Well, let me ask you this. All right. Well, actually, I do have an icebreaker, and the icebreaker is on the clock with the commish. Okay, I'm the commish. With the aphasia. I'll give you a little background. So with the aphasia, with ARCH, which is the Aphasia Resource Collaboration Hub, I'm the president and co-founder.
Yeah,
we have a fantasy football league. There's always a point where we talk sports, and then it's like, okay, let's get to the meeting. And I'm like, well, why can't that be the meeting? Like,
yeah, right. That's great.
So we started the AFFL, the Aphasia Fantasy Football League.
I love that.
And I'm the commish. Anyway,
Amazing.
So my question to you, Dr. Forman, is what is I'll go with prevention. So for prevention, what would be your starter? What is, if you were drafting a recovery tool, what is your first one that you would pick?
You threw me for a loop because I thought you were going to ask me my favorite football team. Well, I mean, everything for me goes back to hypertension control. If we're talking about secondary or primary stroke prevention, so preventing a first or recurrent stroke. And then if we're thinking more about, the recovery process, that would be depression and mental health. I think that is so overlooked, and it kills me that so many stroke survivors are discharged from the hospital and not educated or set up for that type of that depression, for instance, worsens stroke outcomes after someone has a stroke. So I think, the blood pressure piece and mental health resources, if we, for two starters.
No, I love that. Actually, it's so funny. I was thinking, how was I going to do one starter? Because I literally came up with it like last week off the cuff. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
great.
But I love that because it lets me know what my guest thinks is the most important.
Yeah.
And so you're saying hypertension and prevention.
Yeah, I think if we're thinking about preventing another stroke or preventing a stroke in the first place, we have to think about hypertension because it really is a silent killer. People don't feel sick. They don't know they have it. I see so many people by the time they get to the hospital with their stroke, they have end-stage disease, not just in the brain, but in their kidneys and their heart. And I mean, if we just knew to check blood pressure and the importance of this, we could prevent terrible outcomes and terrible disability.
Wow. Before we go any further, let me say this clearly. This podcast is for education and conversation only. This is not medical advice. I am not your doctor. Dr. Rachel is not your doctor, nurse, pharmacist, nor a healthcare provider. Please do not change your medication. Stop taking medication. Start a new routine. Do not listen to Angie. This is pretty much the whole gist of the little break-in right here. Okay, write your questions down, learn your numbers, and then go talk to your healthcare provider. Don't text me. Okay, this is not the time to chat it up with Angie. This is about your healthcare plan with your doctor. So I just want to be clear. This is a podcast for medical conversation and chit chat, and quite frankly, inappropriate statements from your good friend, Angie. That would be me. Okay. So let's get back into it with Dr. Rachel. When it comes down, tell me the insides that I need to know about hypertension. There are higher risk in different places and different communities. What is blood pressure? Like, what is it like at its core? Can you give me like what is it? Give me an education about blood pressure. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think, I like to keep it simple also because I'm a simple person. If you think about our arteries as kind of like a pipe, they take blood from our heart. Their heart pumps blood out And if your pipes start to stiffen from pressure just building up against it, then that is going to damage the arteries or the vessels. Those pipes are going to harden up and have more resistance. And essentially, over time, you get end organ damage for all the organs. So the heart itself is going to what we call hypertrophy. It'll get thickened. That affects its long-term health of your heart. You also get kidney disease. So you'll see a lot of people ending up on dialysis because they have years of uncontrolled blood pressure. Yeah. And then, of course, the stroke is when it affects the arteries of the neck or the head. And you get this buildup of plaque in there, and the arteries are just deteriorating. And it's kind of like once they start going down, it's hard to stop that kind of, escalation of more and more strokes. So the best thing to do is have a healthcare provider in your corner. That can be a nurse practitioner, that can be a community health worker, a physician, whatever you have access to, and get your blood pressure checked and learn how to check it on your own. That would be my biggest advice for people, is just to be aware of their numbers. And the top number is what we call our systolic blood pressure. And it's kind of like the pumping and the relaxation of the heart. And the bottom number is the diastolic. You don't need to know the details of that. Just know that we have to take both of them seriously. And apologies, my son is homesick.
No problem. Noah is a guest on Brain Friends.
Yes. He finished building his tower. Now he is bored. But yes, that is a big message that I really want to get out into the world, is how important it is to just know your numbers.
So if I know my numbers, what is it that I can do about the numbers?
I think for the most part, blood pressure recommendations are to be under 130/80. That's not for every single person, of course. And we know from our research that even probably lower than that is the best. There was a recent study that found that folks who had blood pressures closer to the 120 mark had lower risks of long-term dementia. And we know that sort of also goes along with stroke. That was called the Sprint Mind study. So I think we're going to be pushing lower and lower numbers, to be honest, as we keep going.
Yeah, and I've noticed that they've done that in diabetes as well.
Right.
Like it used to be, if you had an A1C under like 9, you were good. And now it's like 6.5. And
yeah,
it's like,
definitely.
But I'm when you look at blood pressure specifically, it's what are the factors that can really help a person? I mean, you would know because you would have a headache, right?
Mm-hmm.
Headaches are like the first thing to let you know that your blood pressure is high. Maybe
sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Some people feel headaches. Yeah.
Yeah, because they call it the silent killer for a reason.
Right. Most people don't have symptoms, but some people do get headaches when their blood pressure is high. I think again, it's really just knowing your numbers. You have to use the monitor and learn how to use the machine properly. I did do a research project on 150 stroke survivors at Yale, and I asked them about how they check their blood pressure. We found out that only 1 in 5 actually check their blood pressure correctly. So,
wow.
I would definitely encourage everyone there's a great video on the American Heart website. It's a woman in a yellow shirt. It's 3 minutes.
Okay.
And I would just encourage people to watch that video, or if you want to read, of course, the American Heart website, just to make sure you're checking it properly and using like an appropriate size cuff. So that's a great way for you to have kind of agency on checking your own blood pressure. And we also found out that Black and Hispanic patients were less likely to reach out to their healthcare professional if their blood pressure was above goal. So that's also something worth exploring, is what are those barriers to people, reaching out and asking for help, or saying, hey, I'm not going to wait 6 months till my next appointment. I'm going to contact them now and say that my blood pressure is not controlled. Right. So there's a lot to unpack.
But if they're not taking it right, how would they even know?
Exactly. Yeah. So there's multiple layers there.
Well, first of all, to the listeners, I will put a link to that specific video. I will find that video.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
I will. Yeah, thanks. I will, and I will put it in the show notes because I think like I don't take mine every day, but I know mine is when I go to the doctor, it's like 120 over 80 or over 70. Like it's good. And I'm always kind of surprised because I feel like I feel like it could be high. I'm always pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand what it is that, well, first of all, you said about taking it correctly. Yeah. What is correctly? So if I go to CVS or Walgreens or whoever, and I get the thing, I put this cuff on, it's going down my arm, right? And I know it's supposed to be lined up in some way.
Yeah.
I push the button. How is it I could be taking it wrong?
Well, first of all, you need to have a good machine. So usually those are going to cost you closer to like the $50 mark. We do actually not recommend the wrist cuffs. They've just been found not to be as good. Of course, if that's all you have, that's fine. But kind of the real recommendation is to have one that goes right above the elbow. You want to be in a seated position with feet on the floor, both feet on the floor. You don't want to be like relaxing in a couch or in bed. Feet on the floor, back supported on a chair. So really kind of like at the table where you eat is a good option because that's usually where those chairs are in the house. You want to be relaxing for at least 5 minutes. And you need to make sure you have a cuff that fits you. You don't want to be using a cuff that's super small or alternatively super big. So again, this is all on that video. And what I would say, some people get really obsessive about checking their blood pressure like 5 times a day. That's also not healthy to be, doing something that extreme. So I would talk to your healthcare professional about how often and for how long. Oftentimes, if you check it for 3 to 5 days and you're good, you can take a break for a while. It doesn't need to be, So that's why I would just say, have a good relationship with whoever is the person in charge of managing your blood pressure and come up with how often should I be checking it and what are my numbers? What is my exact goal? And then what should I do if I'm not at that goal? How do you want me to reach out to you? Do you want me to send you a my chart with a picture? Do you want me to call your office? So have that plan in place, and that's going to set you up for success.
Wow. So if let's say I take my blood pressure and it's off the cuff, like, I don't know, 200 over something really crazy, right? Yeah. I should call the ambulance or should I call my doctor?
That's a good question. And that's, again, something that should probably be discussed with your individual doctor. I mean, blanket statement, that's really high. And most doctors are going to tell you to go to the emergency room, as I probably would if someone called me. Again, blanket statement. I'm not giving any personal advice.
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But yes, I think that having that threshold also is important. So that's really, thank you for bringing that up, is like, what is the threshold where I shouldn't even bother reaching? And I think most people is going to be over 180 with that top number. Once you're into the 190s, 200s, unless you're someone that really lives up there and it happens all the time and you have this plan with the doctor in place, most people are going to send you to the emergency room with those numbers.
Okay, because that's the thing, because it is so silent. It's like you take it and you're like, oh man, my numbers are high. Yeah. But, so the fact that I should be taking it with my back, sitting up, feet on the floor, 5 minutes, that information I've never known. Now, I did realize if I take it laying down, it would be better.
Interesting. Yeah.
If I sit on the bed and I take it on the bed and I just lay all the way back, I'm going to get a much better number than if I take it while I'm sitting up.
Interesting.
Now, it could have been the cuff that I had from,
Yeah, it might be about the way the cuff fits or just you. But in general, just so that everyone's kind of doing the same thing to the same standard, we do recommend that official positioning.
So when you look at people being discharged, what is the biggest gap that you see between people being discharged to go home versus the people that are sent to rehab? Like after my stroke, I was sent home immediately with a pile of information that I didn't really know what to do with, which I now refer to as the cliff. But
Exactly.
It's so weird. It's so crazy the way our system works. But
I know.
if I'm in that cliff, and for me, I worry about the person that's living alone and doesn't have a
Yeah.
caregiver. Like, how
Yeah.
do they get help? And if a person already had mental health issues,
Right.
how do they get help?
Yeah. Well, I think just answering the first part of your question about the transitions of care, that is so important. And I mean, we met at Anjay Sharif's October meeting, and that's really it's incredible she's done that because this is a huge gap. It's a cliff, like you said. And there are so many people that struggle with knowing what to do. I mean, ideally, someone goes to rehab and they have all this support and mental health support and physical support, and then the family is involved, but we know that doesn't happen a lot of the time. That reminds me of one of my patients who I actually brought with me to a couple talks at Yale, who lives alone, and she had a pretty debilitating stroke, but she was good enough, quote, good enough to go home by herself. And she was like, oh my gosh, she's home. She's like a new person. Thank God she had a lot of resources to hire help for herself.
Wow.
But so many people don't.
Yeah.
And she, she's an international lawyer. Like, she has resources. She knows how to navigate things. But a lot of people would have really fallen through the cracks there. And it just makes my heart go out to everybody. So I think, having conferences like that where we are getting people together, understanding like, where are the gaps? How do we fill these gaps? Another really cool thing, and I promise I'll get to stamp out stroke, is that, the stroke support organizations like you run with Arch and so many other awesome ones out there are very siloed. And so many stroke neurologists or stroke providers don't even know to send their patients to these places. There's a group at Adelphi. I don't know if you've heard about this. They're having, they're going to have a meeting in April to bring together some stroke survivor organizations about how to get everyone working together.
Wow, I love that. Where's this?
That's at Adelphi. It's on Long Island, and I can definitely keep you posted. I'm going to be attending.
Absolutely.
So there are other models around the world. For instance, the person running this is one of the leaders of SAFE. I don't remember exactly, Stroke Alliance. It's the European Stroke Alliance.
Who doesn't love a good acronym? No, you can't.
I know that I can't remember. But I mean, it's basically the European Stroke Support Organization group. And they have everyone kind of working together as this big force.
Yeah, they do it. They over the pond. They got it together. They had it together over the pond. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh, totally. Same in New Zealand and Australia. They have a great group. So I think moving more towards where these stroke support organizations are the norm, standard of care to get people plugged in with this community, that helps with mental health and linking folks up with resources. So there's a huge gap, but I'm really excited about the work that Anjal's doing and the work that you guys are all doing and the Adelphi group. I think we're going in an exciting direction here. So I will segue on.
I tell you what, Dr. Sharif is amazing. She gets it all the way done. And I have my organization that I work on with Rosa and Arch. And I'm trying to figure out how I can take Rosa, the resource orientation for stroke and aphasia. Again, who doesn't love a good acronym?
That's funny.
Because I felt like when I left the hospital, it was like, okay, here you go. And if I don't have a husband who works for the insurance company, and thank God his first year in college, he went to be at SLP, that little bit of, at least he had a little bit of a foundation. And he knew that, okay, I don't know what's going on, but I do know my wife is supposed to be in therapy by now. I know that. And he knew who to call at the insurance company and say, no, this is capitated, this is that. He was doing all the things. But if I have a husband who is a firefighter, he doesn't know that. People shouldn't find their way to resources by accident.
Exactly.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
If I'm not supposed to get anything anywhere else, when I'm walking out of a place where I've been taken care of, you should give me the things to help me continue to be well. But also,
Totally.
people can't take what they're saying. There's a I don't know how bad I am. It's like the lady you were saying, she went home and she was able to hire people.
Right.
But when you go home, you don't know how bad you are when you're walking out of that hospital. I literally thought I'm going to say a little story. All right, little story time. So I come out of the hospital. They send me home days after the stroke. So I went from ER to the hospital, inpatient, and then I was released.
Yeah.
And I was fighting tooth and nail. Get me out of here. I want to see my primary.
Sure.
I don't care if she doesn't have any appointments. I will wait. I will talk to her in the parking lot. I want her to know what's up. Yeah. So they let me out. We go straight to my doctor's office. She sees me and I'm like, listen, I've had these strokes. I'm off in 3 weeks to go on a cruise. If you can give me 2 weeks off, I can go into my vacation. I have the third week off. I'll go back to work. It's all good. And I remember she looked at me dead in the windows of my soul.
Oh, I'm sure.
She says, I'll see you in September. It was May. And that's when I realized, I'm like, oh, all right, well, okay, I'll take the summer off. But fun fact, I have never been back to work. But it was that level of not knowing how bad it was. Because, and the thing about aphasia, which is or just a stroke, you don't know how bad it is. You don't know what's missing or what's been taken until you go to use it. Yes. I didn't know. I couldn't read until I went to go read.
I think you said a quote that was so powerful on this topic at the conference, didn't you? Stroke took stuff I didn't know I had, or something like that. And
a stroke will take things from you did not know were up for grabs.
Exactly. Yep, that was it. And I was like, wow, that's so meaningful.
Well, feel free to cite me. I
I think I have, or I've definitely shared that.
Yeah, I love that for me. But because it is like water on the motherboard.
Yep.
It's such a violation because the things that it takes, like I said, I didn't know that knowing how to tie my shoe was something I could lose.
Yeah.
Without because you don't realize that it is a brain attack is a bruise on your brain. And when you look at it and say and accept that part, and that's from the part of being a patient, I have to accept that no, my brain is not the same. Mm-hmm. It's fundamentally changed because now it's taken a hit.
Yeah.
And if I have a bruise on my shoulder, it's a bruise on her shoulder. She has it in a cast. It's very clear to me and to the people around me what has happened. But when it's on your brain and you can still maintain, it's very, very hard, not only for the other people around you, but for the person who's had it. Like, my aphasia wasn't a problem until about maybe a month or so in, when it was really, this isn't getting better.
Right.
It took a while because I can think okay. I just assumed that my mouth it's just a little off. It's just not syncopated. It's not synchronized. It'll get there because all my thoughts were still clear.
Yeah.
And then as it didn't, it's like, this isn't getting better. And that's when your 8 weeks is over. Right around that point, and you're like, and now I'm being kicked out of therapy when I'm just getting into it.
I know.
The system is so crazy. So tell me about stamped out.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. It's such a common thing I hear. There's like this individual or invisible, aspect where what people don't see on the outside, and people sometimes feel like they have to prove that they had a stroke and that they are having. Because it's like, people are so tired. There's this fatigue. You don't feel like yourself. Your thinking is maybe a little off. And just for people to say, well, you look fine. You can take care of your family. And it's common, 100%. Well, thank you for asking about Stamp Out Stroke. So Stamp Out Stroke is our community engagement program in the Yale Stroke Division. It's been around actually since 2005. So our head nurse and EPRN, nurse navigator, who leads our nurse navigator system, Karin Nystrom, for those who are familiar, she started the group. When I came to Yale in 2020, I joined forces with her. We sort of expanded it to involve medical students and trainees, residents and fellows. And we have been really active. We go out into the community a couple times a month. We teach people about stroke risk factors. We do tabling. We do lectures. We've probably done, I think we did around, 60 events in the last
60?
Yeah. Yeah, we're really out there. And that's because we have such an amazing group of volunteers that are passionate and going out all the time. We even have some Spanish speaking events. We have done a little bit of research with some of the events as well, just seeing how people come to the emergency room slower from certain communities, how the stroke knowledge is less in certain communities. And again, we've started working with kids, which has been really fun, and put out some of that work. So yeah, it's been so meaningful. And I always love to chat with people that want to get that going in their communities as well.
Well, I have to talk to you offline about my ROSA, the resource orientation for stroke and aphasia. I want to, because when I had my stroke, it was just so much. And I just wanted to give people a starter pack.
Yeah.
Like here's your canteen, here's your backpack, here's all the stuff you're going to need.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
And send you on your way, because there's nothing I can do. I can't help you within what's in your mind, right? It's hard. And another classic line from your good friend Angie is, it's hard to be mind over matter when it's your mind that's what's the matter.
It's great. I love the words, the pearls.
No, but it's so true, though.
Yeah, it really is.
It's hard to be mind over matter, because usually think positive, do this, do that. But if your mind is broken, if the brain is broken, if it's my broken brain, how can I be mind over matter and try to talk myself out of feeling this way?
Yeah, of course. You need help.
Systems are broken.
Right. You need help. I mean, people can't do it alone. And I have been pushing, along with a lot of stroke survivors I work with locally, for more peer support options.
Mm-hmm. So let me start this up real quick. So, fun fact. When I first called Dr. Celeste, I asked her, as a speech language pathologist, how does a person with aphasia get a therapist? And she said, I don't know. And then she asked me, would it be cool if we recorded our conversations? That's a true story. So when Dr. Rachel and I get into this part about aphasia, peer support, and mental health care, this is not a random side quest for me. This is one of those real gaps that made me start asking bigger questions, because traditional mental health care is usually talk therapy. But what happens when talking is the injury. If the person with aphasia is trying to process grief, fear, trauma, identity, depression, or the whole what the heck just happened to my life part of recovery, we need support that we can access. Otherwise, I'm paying a copay to literally not be understood. Yeah, that's not what's up. So this is why peer support matters. This is why connecting with a person with aphasia matters. Sometimes you need a clinician, sometimes you need to research, and sometimes you just need an OG to look at the newbie and say, listen, I get it. I got you. So listen, stay with us, stay with me, because these are the moments where the conversation finds the point in real time. Because what I was looking for when I called Celeste was because I know I couldn't just go to my regular doctor, because my aphasia was in the way. But instead she was like, listen, let's start this podcast. Oh man, I love that. Anyway, stay with us and hear how we kind of work through it together. Let's get back to it.
When I say peer support, I mean literally linking up a stroke survivor that's getting out of the hospital with someone like you, one-on-one.
You know who is doing that is Trish Hambridge out of Aphasia Synergy. She has a peer befriending group, and it's to put people with aphasia, like an old head, like an OG, like myself, with a newbie, and just to give them, because people with aphasia, we can't even go to therapy.
Right.
Because the therapist cannot understand us.
I mean, that should not be the case. I would hope that they
But here's the thing, Rachel. How could it not be the case?
Well,
because I literally speak in a different language. It's not right. They can offer it, but they can't literally. It's like they literally cannot. It's like I'm trying to talk to somebody with sign language. Mm-hmm. If you don't know sign language, but if I can't talk, how can I express myself? So now I'm paying you to not understand me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I can't even if you had a doctor that wanted to do it, it's not feasible.
Are you talking about speech or physical?
I'm talking about speech. I'm talking about mental health for a person with aphasia that wants to talk to a counselor.
I see. Oh, okay. So mental health. Yeah, I agree. That's tough.
It's not even like they don't offer it. It's not a sustainable model because they can't understand. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even like we don't offer it. It's not something that can work.
That's a really interesting point, because our standard model is really talk therapy, right? And the first word there is talk.
There's talk. So if I can't talk, and that is my problem, that is my hurt, that is my trauma. Yeah. How can I, and so there's a huge disconnect there. But I don't have the answers for that other than to create Rosa and give people a starter pack and send them to Trish Hambridge where they can get a buddy and kind of pair up and say, listen, I get it, bro.
I love it. Well, I am a part of Sequence, which is the Society for Equity Neuroscience. And that has been really inspiring for me to, engage with global health equity folks. As you know, there's so many disparities, and that drives a lot of the research I do.
Yes.
So definitely check that out. It's we have a whole training program called the Sequence Scholars. So we're teaching the next generation to be more equity focused. We have a journal. It's led by Dr. Bruce Abbiagele, who's the leader of neurologic health equity work worldwide. So that's another group I'm pretty active with. But I think really just coming back to what I said at the beginning, I'm so inspired by you, and it's you, the stroke survivors, that bring to light what we need and how we should be focusing our research efforts and our clinical efforts. I mean, you just telling me that about something so obvious when you think about it, like how does someone with aphasia get psychotherapy or talk therapy after a stroke, when I'm just like, oh, everyone should get, mental health resources. But for you to, that's why we need your voices.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. And there's going to be a new stroke study called Clarity that's going to start enrolling in the fall.
Oh, so tell me about it.
I thought, but that's another example of how we are going to be using patient voices to partner with our clinical research, so that we are, gearing things for you and making sure that things resonate with stroke survivors and we're honoring what's important to you. So, thank you again for this amazing opportunity to be here today.
Well, let me ask you this. For my listeners, my fellow stroke survivors, are you looking for people to not recruit per se, but are you looking for other voices? You have the platform here, you're on the show. Is there anything that you would want to bring to light that you would want to say to other clinicians, other researchers, or survivors that they can help what you're doing?
Yes, I would say that in general, anytime a stroke person is doing research or advocacy or thinking about ways to improve care, bring stroke survivors with you. Partner with stroke survivors. If you don't have the resources to make a full-on patient advisory board, that's fine. But just make sure you're including community and patient voices in everything you do. It's so transformative. It makes you, be more intentional and increases your likelihood of being successful with whatever you're doing, because those are the voices. If you make something and patients aren't interested because you didn't ask, then you could have saved yourself a lot of time, right?
Yeah.
So definitely partnering with patients and community members is key. And Clarity, our patient advisory board, we had an awesome response. So we right now are, we have a good full board. But if you're interested, we would love to have, patient ambassadors who spread the word about the study. We're trying to use really novel and exciting recruitment and retention techniques that are equitable for all stroke survivors. So if you're interested, definitely reach out. You can reach out to Angie, who, unbeknownst to her, is on the advisory board. I got you.
Now, listen, if you do DEI work, if you're doing equity work in this stroke space, I'm like, whatever I can do, however I can lend my voice, it's so important. Real quick, while I'm looking this up, can you tell me about the importance of secondary stroke and how it is different from the first stroke?
Sure. So secondary stroke prevention means someone that's had a stroke and they want to prevent another one from happening, versus primary is someone that's never had a stroke. I think that once we know someone's had a stroke, we hopefully can figure out why that happened. And we can do more like precision secondary stroke prevention, as in, did someone have their stroke because of traditional risk factors where we need to really optimize exercise, diet, the medication someone's on, their blood pressure, for instance, or do they have their stroke because they have a propensity for blood clots and we need to work on, what the best medication is for them with their hematologist or their care team. So it's, more targeted therapy, I would say, as opposed to primary stroke prevention is really just like, in general, being healthy, taking care of all of your risk factors and, knowing your numbers, like I said earlier, so that, we really want to prevent strokes from happening in the first place if we can, of course. So either way, it's being, a really good partner and having a good care team working with you. But a lot of it's, to be honest, very similar. Just taking care of yourself.
So what does it matter to track it down if there's no cohesive answer?
That's a really good question. There are a certain group of people that we call cryptogenic strokes, which means we don't know why they happened. It's actually a decent sized number. But there are also people where we do know why it happens. And not every single person has a stroke because of the traditional risk factors. Sometimes we'll have people come in that are like marathon runners and, perfectly, quote, healthy.
Right. Eating kiwi on the way. They were literally eating avocado while they had a stroke. Like, what?
Exactly. Right. And there are other reasons for people to have strokes. So, as someone gets older, you can have an arrhythmia called atrial fibrillation, which just really happens with age. A lot of people have strokes because of that. And for that reason, it's, a lot of people will get sent home wearing a heart monitor to try to find that arrhythmia. Some people have a propensity for having blood clots, and that's just a genetic thing. Some people have problems with the makeup of their arteries, again, going back to genetic predisposition. And it's important to find that because then we can treat people with the appropriate medications and give them precautions, for instance, of how to live their life moving forward. So I think that, yes, there are some people where it's totally out of their control, but it's good to have a full workup, have a good relationship with your healthcare professional, and in general, be healthy. It's not just for stroke prevention. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of the risk factors for stroke are also risk factors for dementia. So controlling those are going to be beneficial, not just for stroke prevention, but for dementia and other issues. Yeah.
I have one last question, which is my smart cookie question. If you had a magic wand, what is the one thing you would make stroke, would you change in stroke or aphasia care?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not going to talk about blood pressure again because I think I've exhausted that. It would be the mental health piece. And we've talked about that as well, but that is something that I really feel strongly is not addressed. We focus a lot on PT, OT, speech, and I think there should be a fourth category for mental health.
Okay.
Again, as you brilliantly brought up, that's going to look different for someone with aphasia than someone without.
Yeah, that's the key. That's the key. And it's like, you can't go, or it's like they told me to journal. I can't write. What do you mean journal? Or what happened to me was, I remember I went to the gym and I couldn't do reps because I can't count.
Sure.
So the guy said, I went to another gym and the guy was like, well, okay, well, just say the alphabet. I can't say the alphabet. No, I need you to count for me. I'm paying you to be a trainer for me because I need you. So I have my guy and he's been counting my reps for the last 7 years because 7 years later, or 8, whatever it is, I still can't count my own reps. But either way, Rachel Forman, I thank you so much for being on Brain Friends. You got to give me a Brain Friends.
I'm not doing that.
What?
I get out.
Dr. Roy Hamilton did it. Come on. Oh, man. All right. Just all right.
There you go.
You did. There you go. See that.
Oh, man.
Listen, I appreciate you. If there's anything I can, which I'm obviously doing for you, is on some type of committee that I've signed up for.
There you go.
Send me always just send me the invite. I'm around. Anything I can do that's when people are doing good work. And if I can only make one suggestion, when you guys do the work, and this is for all the researchers that listen to the show, make sure you bring that work that you've done back to the people you allegedly did it for.
Yes.
Bring that dissemination to the people so they know the work that they help to either answer questions or to advance research, but at least let it be known. So that's the episode. Brain Friends. So before we close, I want to leave you with something you can actually do. And that is know your numbers, know your blood pressure, know your goal, talk to your doctor, your care team, and do that this week. Write down your questions. And so you can have a real conversation and know what your preventative goals are. Because if you don't know where you're going, I can guarantee you will never get there. So ask when the number is too high and when you should call, do all of those things. All right. So I want to thank Dr. Rachel Forman for being my guest. She was amazing. All of the great information that she shared with us, all the wonderful work she's doing with Stamp Out, and all the organizations that she's working with, teaching the kids about prevention. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. Dr. Rachel Forman understands that, and I'm grateful that she brought her knowledge, her community focus, and her situation to Brain Friends. And of course, wait for it, shout out to Noah. He was home being a kid, gave the episode a little of that background family life. They happen in real homes and real families with things happening around us, and sometimes that's how life is. So with everything you've heard today, let me also again remind you, I am not your doctor. This is a podcast. I shouldn't have to say this over and over, okay? Get your blood pressure goals, your medication, your symptom plans. They are all personal. Take what you heard here and go ask somebody, okay? Go, not me. I'm not going to say it again. I will also include helpful links in the show notes So, including the blood pressure resources, the monitor information, and the suicide crisis hotline. If you feel some type of way, again, don't call me. Call them, okay? Thank you for listening. Thank you for learning with me. So, until next time, take care of your brain, take care of your body, and take care of each other. Peace, y'all.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Brain Friends. Please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite streaming platform. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Brain Friends, the podcast. I'm so extra.